On behalf of the National Entrepreneur Center and Orange County government, welcome to Main Street Profiles, a program that explores how you turn a good idea into a successful business. Our guests are entrepreneurs, business owners, and community leaders who have valuable insights from their life experience that they share with you today. It could make a big difference in your business. I'm your host, Jerry Ross, and thanks for joining us. On today's program, we're going to be chatting with Sharad Metha, president of ScreenWorks USA, to learn about his journey to entrepreneurial success and the lessons that he's learned along the way. So let's get started. Hello, Sharad, and welcome to Main Street Profiles.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Good to be here.
You are the president of ScreenWorks USA. Can you tell me a little bit about how that got started and how that came about?
Yeah, I've been in business since about 1980. We used to import women's apparel from Philippines to US and distribute them. And somehow, somewhere in 96 rather, the idea of screen printing came to my mind. The apparel business was slowing down. And lo and behold, January 1, we started a screen printing business with an embroidery machine and a screen printing machine. And that's how we started in 1997. A year and a half later, we merged with another company in Orlando, and thus the merger of the two resulted in ScreenWorks USA, which is the company today.
And so was it primarily focused on t-shirts, or was it any kind of apparel, or was it corporate apparel?
At that time, we used to do anything we could get our hands on, and it was all of those things. And that's how we started. The company we merged with was the largest screen printer for Planet Hollywood at that time. And we merged the two enterprises mainly to get strength in our mutual competencies. And we haven't looked back since then, really.
Well, when did you know it was going to work?
Well, in 1997, we struggled when I started the company. And in 1998, I encountered a very large customer. And I found that I did not have the equipment and the facilities to handle that customer. So I then approached another business to merge with that business. And that's how we started the business of screen printing. And our vision was always to become what we call in our business a custom full package vendor, as against the starting point when we were doing more contracting for other people.
So you wanted to be custom and take custom orders?
Yes, full package we call it, from graphic design to apparel selection to color palettes and presenting the customer end product.
So let's fast forward from those start where you say, I'm a little concerned about whether we're going to make it and how do I supply a large order. Let's fast forward to today. Tell me about ScreenWorks today.
Well, ScreenWorks today is one of the largest screen printing company in the US. Our primary focus is to cater to theme parks. We extend that, we called it themed retail.
Themed retail.
Yes, it started with theme parks and attractions. We just lucked upon being here amidst the largest theme parks.
This is a great place to be if you're going to be servicing the theme park business.
But we consider a cruise line to be a themed retail because it is either about the ship or about the destination. We consider the airport shops as themed. They always talk about the town they are located in. M&M is a themed shop. So we have expanded this themed concept a little bit, but it is always centered around a theme. If you go to a department store or a chain store, the shirts there could be all kinds. But in a themed retail, like Planet Hollywood or Rainforest Cafe, it's all about the theme of the retail environment.
And so what's the size today? What kind of volume do you do today?
We print 4 million shirts a year, and we have 81,000 square foot facility. 120 employees, and there are days when we print 25, 30,000 shirts.
Wow. And that's a far increase from where you started.
Yes, it is. Well, in last 6-7 years, we have tripled the size of our company.
Tell me about the future. What does the future look like for ScreenWorks?
Well, 6 years ago, we decided that we want to focus on the themed retail concept, and we really abandoned all other kind of business, primarily to focus on themed retail. Mm-hmm. We believe we've done a good job, that we now find that we are very focused on few customers. There is a concentration of business among few customers. And we plan to diversify our customer base either organically or through a merger and acquisition strategy.
Have you done mergers and acquisitions before?
Well, our DNA is merger. Me and my partner merged our two companies in 1998 or 99. Yes. So we believe that organically we may not be able to do it as well. But with a merger or an acquisition, we will be able to diversify our customer base.
And by doing that, you not only attract the skills and capabilities of the people that you merge or acquire, but you also bring their customer base in.
Absolutely. That is our goal, that we want to enter other segments of the business, other business segments than the themed attractions, right, or themed retail. And we believe that merger or an acquisition of a business will be a right strategy.
Did you know when you began the business that it would be the size that it is today, or did you start out with that end in mind, or did you develop that along the way?
No, in all honesty, we did not expect that we'll be the size we are in today and in a leadership position in our chosen market segment. But it was in 1996 when a board of advisor, I beg your pardon, it was in 2006, when a board of advisor provided to us by Small Business Development Center at the NEC helped us develop what are our core competencies and what kind of business to pursue. And through that exercise, we've developed a focus, and that focus has helped us reach where we are today.
When you look at the business in Central Florida and the business versus now it's global, do you do international business?
We do very little international business, but our customers like Universal Studio, Disney, have overseas presence, and we have had some opportunities to ship merchandise to their overseas locations.
Have you seen that as a challenge to do business globally, or has that been something that's been pretty?
In our case, it's not been very difficult because we get a lot of logistical support from our customers. But I've also been involved in international business from the day one. In fact, spent a few years in Africa importing from Japan. Then I was in New York exporting equipment from US. So until screen printing business, I was always in international business. So if it comes through, we are adept at that.
It's time for a short break. And when we come back, we'll be learning a little bit about the background and personal journey of Sharad Metha, president of ScreenWorks USA. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Main Street Profiles, where you can discover the secrets of turning a good idea into a successful business. I'm your host, Jerry Ross, and we're talking with Mr. Sharad Metha. And now it's time to hear a little bit about his background before he became an entrepreneur. So we're back to talk about your personal journey. Tell me about where you came from and where you grew up.
Well, it's a very interesting journey. Born in Pakistan, what is now called Pakistan, at that time India, brought up in Bombay, and almost started my first job in East Africa.
In East Africa.
And then to America. That has been my journey so far. Went to college in India, I did a graduate school in business.
In Bombay?
In Bombay.
And so when you were growing up in Bombay, other brothers and sisters?
Yes, 2 brothers and a sister. We lived in suburban Bombay, went to school, college, and graduate school in Bombay.
So what were your favorite topics or subjects in school?
Mostly politics and world affairs. That is what we in that country quite are interested in. Indians, you'd be amazed, have a lot of interest in what's happening around the world.
Around the world. And did you go to English school? Or when did you?
Yes. Frankly, my grammar school was not English school. It is only after grade 7 that I went to an English school. So from there on, all medium of education was English.
And so what took you to your first job in Northern Africa?
Yes. I worked for a very short while in India as a marketing analyst. And I knew some families in Africa, East Africa, and the chief executive of that company, that family member, visited India when I was in business school. And he said, Sharad, I want you to come to Africa as soon as you finished your MBA. And he stuck to his promise, and in just after a short while of about a year in India, after my graduate school, I landed up in Tanzania, East Africa.
And was that in marketing?
It was, he hired me as a young consultant. It was a very large company, conglomerate of business, Coca-Cola bottling plants, automobile importation, a variety of enterprise, soap making, fish net making, but it's a family-run company, rather large. And at a very young age, they kind of called me a consultant.
That's a pretty nice title for someone right out of business school.
Yeah, but they also gave me an opportunity to apply all that I'd learned in business school. Really, I'm very grateful to that enterprise that straight out of school into a company, develop organizational structure, job descriptions, reporting structure, monthly meetings, business plans. It all started there, really.
It sounds like a great foundation when you come out of business school to put those principles into practice, which has led to some of your success today.
I was very fortunate to have that stint, and it started as a 2-year stint, but ended up as a 6-year stint in East Africa.
Sometimes that happens when you land someplace and you're learning a lot. Those weeks turn into years, and
Yes.
you end up staying quite a while. Was there any lessons that you learned there from that first job?
Well, the main lesson was a transplant from another country coming to a fairly established company and trying to introduce some changes. So I had to sell myself first to all my colleagues and other people participating in the company. But it was not that difficult a process, really.
So what brought you to the United States?
Well, my journey to East Africa was actually a stepping stone to US. Even before going to Africa, I had planned to come to US. So within a year and a half that I was in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, I got a US green card, what we call green card. So that was the plan. And
So that was the plan all along?
All along.
Was that the plan growing up in business school, or did that
Yes.
just happen in Africa?
Yeah. No, even at the business school, many of our professors were trained in US, and I had harbored the idea of actually pursuing higher studies, further studies in US. So in East Africa, first order of the business was to seek a visa, a permanent residence to the US, which I got very fortunately.
And when did that happen?
It happened in 1969. 68 is when I came there, and 69. Eventually, I entered US in 1970.
Okay. And where did you come, and what brought you here?
Hawaii, but I went back.
That's a pretty nice destination to end up in.
Yes. That was just a visit to get my visa. And then the US government permitted in those days that you could go back for any contractual obligation or something. So I continued to stay in Africa, but kept on visiting US every year until 1975 when I immigrated here.
And where did you come when you migrated?
On January 1, 1975 in New York City, JFK. That's where I started, and I started my first job in New York City.
And so what brought you to Orlando? How did you end up in Orlando?
Well, you would call some lucky breaks or unlucky breaks. Actually, from New York, I went to Miami to join another East African entrepreneur who knew of me, and we had known each other in Africa. And he was in apparel importation business. And from New York going to Miami was a very interesting proposition those days.
Was it during the winter? I mean, that would make the decision a little easier.
Yes, it was during winter that they called me there. And our first son was born, and Miami looked very attractive opportunity at that time. So moved to Miami. I was with that company for less than a year, and due to some reasons, I found an opportunity in Orlando, again with my ex-boss from East Africa. He started an enterprise in Orlando, and he wanted me to join him. So that's what brought me to Orlando in fall of, exactly October in 1978.
1978.
Yes.
And you tell me about your family.
Yeah. I have a sister in India. My mother stays with my sister. I have a brother in Bombay, and a sister is in Delhi, actually. And I have an elder brother in Orlando.
And I know your wife is quite the traveler.
Yes, my wife is from Delhi, and she used to work with the U.S. government, career civil servant, and retired early this year.
Well, I'd like to end with asking about, weren't you named the Small Business Person of the Year for the state of Florida at one time?
Yes, in 2005, I was named the Small Business Person of the Year by SBA for state of Florida.
And how did that feel, and how was that process?
That felt good at that time, and in fact, I have to credit the Orange County and their Small Business Development Center and the National Entrepreneur Center for encouraging me to apply for the award, and then I was declared the Small Business Person of the Year.
Well, that's quite an honor, and we're quite honored to have you doing business here in Central Florida. So time flies when you're having fun, but it's time for another break. So if you'll just relax for a few minutes, we're going to come right back. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more from Sharad Metha, president of ScreenWorks USA, on Main Street Profiles. Welcome back to Main Street Profiles, where you can discover the secrets of turning a good idea into a successful business. I'm Jerry Ross, and today we're talking with the president of ScreenWorks USA, Mr. Sharad Metha. Well, now I'd like to turn to some of those business lessons that you've learned from your experience along the way, not only in Africa and New York and India, but anything that you could share of your insights and your perspectives for any of the business owners or entrepreneurs who are watching today.
There's a lot of ground to cover there. I have succeeded through focus. Many times when we start business, we just looking for business from any angle and all the angles just to make some profit.
To make
some
payroll
revenue.
on Friday.
Absolutely. But I feel that while that may be a good start, but once you start focusing on where your core competencies are, where you bring an edge to the market compared to a competitor, you start succeeding. And we did exactly the same thing 6 or 7 years ago, and we never looked backwards. Focus, focus, and focus is what has helped us.
Were there any things that you would do differently along the way, or any things that you stumbled into and said, that's something that we need to always do?
Not really. I think our journey has been pretty typical. We grew to a certain size, and then we didn't know what to do. We sought help in our environment here, and fortunately, the help was very timely, guidance was very timely, and I ascribe our success to that timely help, which is available to all the entrepreneurs in Central Florida. This is what I find very unique in America. People are willing to help. People are willing to share their expertise. Unlike some other countries where these are kept very secret lest somebody else succeeds. Here people are willing to share their experiences, take their own time and come and help you succeed in your business. And that is phenomenal.
Well, and I think that is something that is true about America, but specifically true about Central Florida, where we have not only the city and the county working together, but the university and corporate America helping to fund the National Entrepreneur Center, specifically with a mission to help and to bring organizations together to help businesses in any way that they need. And so I think as I travel around, I find that not only are entrepreneurs always willing to help, but Central Florida has provided an environment for it to be very easy to get that help. Have you found that?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate to be living in Central Florida because besides the climate, wonderful climate, a great city, a lot of tourism, and facilities related to tourism, I find the Central Florida, the county, Orange County, the UCF, are a tremendous resource for upcoming businesses. And we are hogs. My company is hogs. I've always had interns from UCF to come and help me. I've attended all the seminars at the National Entrepreneur Center, many of them. And actually, I must credit my success primarily to some of these interactions, taking us from where we were in 2005 to where we are today.
Well, but and it's great to get that help, but you did the work. You know, you were the one that were taking the risk and making the payroll on Friday, and that's a journey that all of the entrepreneurs who take on that risk and that burden, and you did the work. And so, for those folks that are out there wondering about maybe starting a business, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, many people have approached me, many Indians from UK, Canada, India come here looking for business. I always tell them, what is your core competence you want to offer to the market? Are you a great marketing company? Are you a great production company? What is your core competence? So I think it's good to establish that.
Because you can't just be one of many players. You've got to have something that makes someone remember you. What would they remember about ScreenWorks?
Well, ScreenWorks, because of this focus, has established itself among its customer as our customers look for creativity from us, great T-shirt designs from us, tremendous quality of printing, and we work with some of the biggest brands in the world, and quality is very high for them. A brand, Disney or Universal or some of their other licensed merchandise, they consider, even though the T-shirt may be a very small item, they consider their brand is riding on that. And therefore, ultimate in quality, ultimate in compliance, social responsibility is expected.
How do you see the future for the economy here in Central Florida?
Well, as the U.S. economy has come out of recession, I think Central Florida economy is also coming out of recession. Tourism seems to be good. Our business seems to be good, which is related to number of tourists who come to Orlando. I think the business climate in Central Florida is very good. UCF is a tremendous catalyst, and Orange County is also very pro-business county here.
So in looking back over your journey, is there any other place that you would rather be than Central Florida?
No, the plan is to go out of Central Florida horizontally.
Well,
this is the last station for me.
Well, that's a good thing to hear, although I'll guard that comment. But I can attest to the quality because just recently I realized that I had a ScreenWorks t-shirt that I had been wearing so long, my wife was pleading with me to actually get a new one. And so the quality does last, and we appreciate what you've done for the business community here in Central Florida. Thanks for taking your time to be here.
Thank you.
Once again, I would like to thank Orange County Government and the National Entrepreneur Center for their ongoing support of our business community, which includes this show. And finally, I want to thank you for what you do each and every day to make our community a great place to work and to play. So until next time, I'm Jerry Ross, and I will see you on Main Street.